sweet enough to come to me with a cake this morning. And yeah, each and every one of them are such dear friends of mine. And I think, I don't know how I would survive the tour without these friendships. Because it's not just, my friends from tennis. They're really my friends, in life, I would say. And yeah, it's very normal that at times we play each other. We play so many tournaments. But, we're professionals. At the end of the day, we know how to handle it and we know how to keep it separate. So, yeah, there's nothing special that you need to do in terms of the relationship. You don't need to change anything about it.
The crowd inside Roland Garros could feel something strange building long before the first serve was even hit. Cameras kept cutting between Alex Eala and Iva Jovic during warm-ups, and fans online immediately started asking the same question. What happened between these two rising stars? Just months ago, they were laughing together in practice clips, exchanging supportive comments online, and being called the future faces of women's tennis. But now, standing on opposite sides of the court in Paris, the energy felt completely different. No smiles, no conversations, no friendly gestures, only cold focus. And when the chair umpire announced play, the tension exploded instantly. Eala fired the opening serve like she had something personal to prove, while Jovic responded with a blistering return that shocked the crowd into silence. From that moment, this was no longer just another match at Roland Garros. It felt like the beginning of a rivalry nobody expected to see. Social media erupted within minutes, with fans desperately trying to figure out why the two young stars suddenly looked like enemies instead of best friends. Some blamed competition. Others claimed pressure from coaches and media had quietly destroyed the friendship behind the scenes. But whatever the truth was, one thing became obvious immediately. Neither player wanted to lose this match. Every rally became more intense than the last. Every point carried emotional weight, and the crowd in Paris could sense it. The cameras zoomed in after nearly every game because the reactions were impossible to ignore. Jovic screamed toward her box after winning a huge break point, while Eala stared across the net with an icy expression fans had never seen before. The internet instantly went crazy. Tennis fans love drama, but this felt bigger than ordinary sports tension. These were two teenage sensations, once viewed as friends, chasing greatness together. Now they were battling like rivals who had waited months for this exact moment. Commentators began replaying old interviews where Eala praised Jovic's talent, and Jovic called Eala one of the nicest people on tour. That only made the situation feel even more shocking. What changed? Nobody knew for sure, but everyone wanted answers. And as the match continued, the emotions only intensified. Eala started dominating the rallies with fearless baseline shots, forcing Jovic deep behind the court again and again. But Jovic refused to back down. She answered with incredible defense and stunning counterattacks that brought the Paris crowd to its feet. Every game started feeling like a final. Fans in the stadium pulled out their phones because they realized they were witnessing something unforgettable. At one point during a long rally, Eala blasted a forehand winner directly down the line and screamed louder than ever before, shocking even the commentators. Jovic responded seconds later with a cold stare and a fist pump toward her team. The atmosphere instantly became electric. Online clips from the match started spreading everywhere. Headlines began appearing in real time. Best friends become rivals? Eala versus Jovic drama explodes in Paris. And the new rivalry tennis needed. Suddenly, the match wasn't just trending among tennis fans, casual viewers were tuning in too. Millions wanted to see what would happen next. Then came the moment that truly changed everything. Late in the second set, after an exhausting rally that lasted nearly 30 shots, Jovic barely reached a drop shot before softly tapping the ball over the net for a winner. But instead of celebrating normally, she stared directly toward Eala's side of the court before turning away. The crowd gasped instantly. Even commentators paused for a second because the tension had become impossible to hide. Eala looked furious. She walked back to the baseline slowly, bouncing the ball in complete silence while thousands watched nervously. And then she unleashed some of the best tennis of her entire career. Her next service game was untouchable. Ace, winner, winner, ace. The crowd erupted as momentum completely shifted again. Fans online immediately started picking sides. Team Eala accused Jovic of disrespect. Team Jovic argued she was simply showing competitive fire. But one thing everyone agreed on was this: women's tennis had suddenly found a blockbuster rivalry capable of attracting massive global attention. The pressure inside the stadium became overwhelming as both players pushed themselves to the limit. Sweat poured down their faces. Their movement slowed from exhaustion. Yet neither player refused to surrender even a single point. The emotional intensity became impossible to fake. This was deeper than rankings, deeper than prize money. Something personal clearly existed beneath the surface. Reporters sitting courtside began sending live updates saying the atmosphere felt uncomfortable and emotionally charged. Fans noticed the lack of eye contact during changeovers. No acknowledgement, no friendliness, just silence. The internet detective theories became even crazier. Some claimed a private disagreement had happened months earlier during training. Others believed constant comparisons from the media and fans slowly created jealousy between the two young stars. Because everywhere they went, people compared them endlessly. Who had more potential? Who handled pressure better? Who would become the next global superstar? Maybe eventually that pressure became too much. Maybe friendship simply couldn't survive in such a ruthless sport. And in Paris, all those emotions finally exploded onto the biggest stage possible. The final games felt almost cinematic. Every point carried unbelievable pressure. Fans stood on their feet after nearly every rally. Eala's supporters screamed her name while Jovic's team desperately tried to keep her focused. At one stage, the camera showed both players during a break, and neither smiled even once. The friendship fans once adored suddenly looked completely gone. Then came championship-level drama. Breakpoint, match-defining moment. Eala ripped a return so hard that Jovic barely touched it. The ball floated high into the air before landing inches out. The crowd exploded. Eala clenched her fist and screamed toward the Paris sky, while Jovic looked devastated. But even then, the match still wasn't over. Jovic somehow fought back again with fearless shot-making that stunned everyone watching. Commentators began calling it one of the most emotionally intense matches of the tournament. And honestly, they were right. Because this was bigger than tennis. Now, it was about ambition, pressure, friendship, fame. And what happens when two young stars realize only one can rise faster than the other? By the final game, nobody in the stadium was sitting anymore. Every phone camera was raised. Every rally felt historic. And when the final point finally arrived, the reaction was unforgettable. One player collapsed in celebration while the other stood frozen in disappointment. The handshake at the net lasted barely a second. No smiles, no conversation, just a quick touch of hands before walking away in opposite directions. That single moment sent social media into a complete meltdown. Fans instantly declared the friendship officially over. Sports pages everywhere started calling it the beginning of tennis's next legendary rivalry. And honestly, after what the world witnessed at Roland Garros, it's hard not to believe them.